Hey everybody, this is Liz from Augusta, and today I have a very special guest that I want you to meet, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, tell us where he's from, and a little bit about how he got to be who he is, childhood, family, and then we'll jump into our content for today. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. My name's Kevin Fairburn. I was number 2 franchise with Augusta. I'm here in South Haven, Mississippi. Um, I have 2 little boys, a 3 and 4-year-old. I had a business kind of before Augusta and kind of transitioned into it as the franchising thing came available.
So your family, did you have siblings?
I don't. I'm actually an only child.
Fantastic. And you share a very special birthday with somebody that's very special to both of us.
Yes.
So Kevin's birthday is the same day as Mike's, and some of the qualities that they both possess are incredibly similar. So I appreciate you coming on today because I want to hear a little bit of your background and how you came to Augusta. You owned a business before. Now, was that a lawn care and landscaping business?
It is among other businesses, but yes, the main one I had was Bluff City Landscape. I had for a few years there with a partner. And I guess early on, hearing about Augusta, I watched Mike's videos, of course, with most people pretty early on. We only had a few. Then I kind of transitioned into the landscape business course when he only had a few things on there. And Mike was still in a button down dress shirt, khakis, and talking about all the lawn and landscaping businesses and how to build it. And then I actually became one of the Pro Plus members, where there was only like 10 of us, that he, I guess, a little more one-on-one and gave more than he did to the public, to us. And then when the franchising came available, it kind of was like a good transition from that into this. And it was kind of the right time for my family and myself, just wanting to, I guess, get out of Memphis, Tennessee, and a little bit below that where my parents live and my spouse's parents live and a lot of her siblings. It just kind of made sense to take over the South Haven, Mississippi location.
Okay, so you had a full-fledged business, and how did you get into lawn care and landscaping? Did you start when you were young?
Yes, when I was pretty young, a friend of mine that I knew in high school and kind of played football with had a lawn and landscape company as well. And I kind of went and helped him out, learn some of the ropes, and just kind of went from there. Eventually learned everything I wanted to, and then took into my own lawn and landscaping business.
And how was the revenue? How many employees did you have with your company before you came to Augusta?
Before we got to Augusta that last year, we had about 6 employees, and we were doing probably 650,000 that year before we, I guess, decided to move over to this franchise.
So you had been listening to Mike, but what was it that vetted him to you that you would think that it would even be something that you would want to commit with him to do when you already had a good business going?
Yeah, after, I guess, following Mike for so long, I said going through the course and being a part of the Pro Plus, you could just see his passion and like willingness to help others like myself. And then you could just tell from that twinkle in like Mike's eye the passion he had for what he was doing and the places he was going. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I would get the location that I wanted right down in South Haven, right where, like I said, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
siblings and family was. And then the growth with that organization that you knew was on the right track as far as Augusta going in the right places. And it just did it for me.
So his character and the youth that he had, that didn't bother you at all, huh?
No, didn't seem to bother me. Like I said, you could just see the passion he has and the willingness to help others, that he was just definitely going places and the organization was headed in the right places.
So there wasn't some last final thing that you thought, let's go for it. Were you watching him start the franchise and then you thought, I don't mind taking the risk with this kid. Let's do this.
Right. No, like I said, it just seemed like the right transition because I had been following and kind of growing with them anyway in the background as far as the course and the videos and then the Pro Plus program, and then it's all lined up. It seemed like at the right time, right place.
Yeah, what has been special about you for us is knowing that somebody took a risk with us to do something with all of our, when you start something this big, this early, there's going to be so many mistakes and
Okay.
blunders and all of that. And there was always positivity from you. And every time we would post anything, it was immediate support. It was immediate encouragement on all the different platforms for all of the landscape industry is what I noticed. And it seems like you were just really supportive of everything happening for anyone in the landscape industry. I don't know about other things that you're involved in your life, but you just always knew that Kevin was there. Kevin had your back. And even when we made mistakes, the positivity that was there. What is your outlook on life in general? How did you come to be so positive and always looking for the good side of anything?
I guess it was just same thing as your upbringing and your family. They've always been super supportive of me and a lot of endeavors that I've been in. And of course, taking some things on and not, I guess, being successful and failing, but still being supportive of, hey, we learn from that, we move on, and we change some things and make some things for the better and keep moving forward. And with some different companies that I've been in some different industries as well, and just knowing that something, I guess, this big and new, that you knew there was going to be some mistakes, but just hearing and seeing from everybody, you knew it was headed in the right direction, that we're going to, make some mistakes and things are going to happen, but we're going to learn from them, make them better, and then keep moving forward. And so I just wanted to be there to support that because I've been there and done that many times.
Mm-hmm. And as you can imagine, even when you start a franchise, even our level of training and everything, it's coming from nothing. It's something that we're building as we go along. So our very first training was 10 people. And as you said, you were in that first 10 and you were the second one. And I remember we worked so hard and prepared, and you don't know what you don't know, right? And
That's
you
right.
do the very best with what you have to prepare. And I remember I didn't talk to you the whole weekend. We were just all busy doing our thing. And then right before you walked out the door, you said, "Hey, Liz, you need to learn to talk faster." And I don't know if you remember saying that to me. I had spoke, I think it was 4.5 hours straight going through service autopilot and just like firing away and giving all this information. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that was too much, too fast. I
It was a
don't know if you guys got anything out of what we said, but it's so much better now. And if we hadn't had anybody with us at the beginning, uh, just having somebody take the risk at the beginning meant so much to Mike, you know?
oh yes.
So
It
up
has.
to where we are today, you've been with Augusta for how long?
I guess this will be what, 4 years now. I guess that was the first part. That was like training was what, early 2020. So yeah, this will be going in the 4 years. I guess I signed up in 2019, but yeah, so this will be going on like 4 years.
Now you had a business with your brand and you had to do a brand transition, but you didn't do that right away. Can you tell us a little bit about how you did that?
I actually didn't do it at all. I still am a part owner of Blessed City in Memphis,
Okay.
and the other partner is kind of running the show there mainly. And I've been trying to, I guess, discuss on parting ways with that, so I could possibly do a second location with Augusta right below us in another city that's kind of growing really fast. So it didn't necessarily, I guess, transition, but the first year I kind of split between the two, I guess you would say, where I was spending like half my time still at that business and half the time here with Augusta. And then I just found, kind of figured out that I need to move full time into Augusta that following year, and then kind of put the other business somewhat on the back burner, but still helping them out as much as I can here and there.
Okay, so you had this full business running, and then did you start Augusta from scratch?
I did.
A
I
whole new
did.
business.
Yeah, another whole business, and only, like I said, spent like half my time there. So it was almost like part time the first year.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember that. And then your other business, did you use Service Autopilot?
We didn't. It was a totally other different CRM yard books over there.
Okay, so and are you still doing that?
They are. They're still using that same one over there, and then Service Autopilot with Augusta.
So how has that challenge been for you? Is this person that you have on the other one a GM, or that it's the other owner, the other
It's the,
part owner?
the other part owner, and then we do have some head guys over there that help with all the crews and stuff. But so yeah, he does mainly just the admin stuff and then the estimates and things.
Okay, so mostly you're involved in Augusta now.
Yes.
And if they were to be territories, are they in the same area or are they kind of back to back to each other? I know that the first business isn't a territory, but I mean where you would have your route density and things.
Yeah, it's kind of back to back. They're mainly all in Memphis there, kind of the east side and a couple of suburbs of that, but nothing down here in Mississippi where I'm at.
Yeah. So to actually, are they intertwined at all? So I would say some of your customers and things, if you were to split off, you to even sell the other business, are you intertwined in some of the customer in your CRMs?
No, like I said, it's pretty separate. They're in Memphis, kind of Tennessee, and we're down here in South Haven, so none of the customers intertwine
That's good.
too much. So it's good. I know we were helping out with some of the treatments and stuff because I was one with the license to do treatment. So there for the first year or two, we were still doing that, but now we've handed that part off to, I guess, a subcontractor for that company up there in Memphis.
So the first business that you had, did you simplify services to start your Augusta location, or pretty much the same across the board? Lawn care, landscaping,
We
cleanups?
did. I know we did simplify some on Augusta side when we started that, just not doing like paver patios and retaining walls or so much of the hardscaping, I guess, even though
Mhm.
that business up there does do some of that, but not super heavy.
Okay, so that is a good segue into what we have next. And I was wondering if you could share what the experience has been like with you, for you, as far as community and the business itself. Do you feel like you're a little further along time-wise in the business and have strong relationships because of being with Augusta? What do you think the benefits have been for you?
It's been great. Like, it's wonderful in the sense that you're around so many others that are positive and on the same mission. So you can feel kind of the difference in the energy. And that alone kind of makes you want to be more positive and better yourself. It's hard to
Mhm.
explain unless you've just been there and felt it. Almost like this summit coming up in October in Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, coming to that and just being around so many positive people that's on the same mission in the same industry just seems like it bumps you to another level where you can just feel it. It's hard to explain unless you're
Yeah.
there in it. But also, I guess, like you said, Augusta, with the systems and the standards and the processes and things, it definitely propels you a lot faster than if you're by yourself in your own company trying to figure out through the trials and tribulations and mistakes that you're making. It just definitely trying to grow that. I saw it in the other company before this. It took definitely a lot longer to get to the level that we're at now with Augusta in a like way shorter time.
Yeah, so you feel like it bought you some time. And then with the friendships, the community and all of that, that it's been a support to you that you wouldn't have been able to find anywhere otherwise.
No, definitely not. Like I say, even the other company before this, it's like I said, you're trying to figure it out by yourself. It seems like you're kind of on your own. Even though I had a partner, we're both kind of like bouncing off each other, figuring out. But anytime that you wanted to, I guess, talk to another company or maybe another business owner in this industry, it just seemed like it's kind of safeguarded. Like maybe they didn't want to give you their secrets or their tips and tricks because you might use it to gain a level or notch up on them or
Yeah.
something. But being a part of Augusta now, just with so many people being involved, kind of on the same mission, that and so many people wanting to help out and be positive, that there's so many answers and things coming in. Anytime something comes up, you can put it on the Facebook group or just put it out there, and it seems like everybody's willing to share and help as much as possible, which is, it just seems like it takes you to a whole nother level so much faster.
Yeah, what I was saying earlier about your character and the type of person that you are, uh, it's like you're born a leader whether you wanted to be a leader or not, and you lead whether you want to lead or not. That's just the way it is. And those qualities are the same in you and Mike. What I've also noticed that's the same between the two of you is you're both very generous, very kind, not proud, and but have confidence and courage for what needs to be done, and you step into positions that are maybe uncomfortable and lead anyway. So you are on what we call the council for the franchisees. Could you tell us a little bit about what that's like and how you actually can become a part of that?
It's been great. I think, like you said, just having qualities to be able to share and help others without wanting something back or in return, like I'm going to help you if you help me, or it's just you're giving and helping as much as possible without expecting anything in return. And it's been great because a lot of the new people that come on in Augusta, that I try to reach out and at least say, hey, if there's anything I can do, just let me know. If there's any way I can help, just let me know. And so we message in the background a lot. We have some WhatsApp groups that has maybe new people on it, but also like some people that's been around for a while, and we discuss different things in those groups. And then when you hear certain things over and over that's brought up that might be a concern or a challenge that you keep hearing, you can just bring it to Mike or yourself as far as the council, bring it up in there with us 6 or 7 people that are in the council, and then we all kind of vote and discuss it and then make changes pretty quickly inside the organization, which has been great.
And then how did you get into the advisory council? Is that voted on by the franchisees themselves?
Yes, you have to be voted on. I think there's actually another one coming up in June, or is there going to be another vote by everybody that's a franchisee, and then they vote for who's going to be on that council to represent them.
Yeah, and for all of us, it's huge, really, because you listen in the background to all the concerns of the franchisees. They don't have a filter, and so they're able to share just exactly how they feel, and then you can get a barometer on, okay, I've had 5 people share this concern today. It's a little bit of an emergency, or I've heard these concerns among them, and you bring it forward. So it's really a democracy more than it's not Mike just saying this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to be. As the organization grows bigger, there's just no way one person's ideas and what they think, they're not going to be able to touch every spot. So it's been a huge blessing that all of you guys, how many of us, how many are there? 8?
Yeah, I think there's 8 with Chuck on there.
Okay. And with 8 on there, how are these men chosen? Is it because they have the biggest companies, the fastest growing, the smallest? What kind of qualities are we looking for?
A little bit of it all, really, but I think it's mainly somebody that's, I guess approachable, and it's really listening and really willing to help out. And there's all different spectrums. Some with the big companies on there, some with medium-sized companies. Even I guess Dustin Biernick was pretty new, actually. He got Rookie of the Year last year, and he's actually on the council as well. So it's a broad spectrum, which is nice because you get a little bit of it all.
So these Rookie of the Year, Franchisee of the Year, what are those exactly? Are they awards, and when are they given, and which ones have you received?
They are awards. They usually come, throughout the whole year, and then at the summit, like the one that's coming up in October in Louisville, Kentucky, it's actually presented there in front of everybody. And so I actually this past year got Franchisee of the Year.
Awesome. And what does that entail? Like, what do you think Mike takes into consideration to come to that decision?
I think a lot of the qualities, like you explained earlier, just willing to help and just kind of standing out, I guess, a little bit about giving above and beyond and doing things that are maybe above and beyond that are kind of, usually expected, that maybe you join the company and you are part of the franchisee, but you just kind of go through the motions and you do your part, you make your money. But it's just somebody that stands out above that, willing to give more, do more than it's expected or asked of you.
Yeah. So we are in Washington State. A lot of the franchisees are in the southern U.S., all over the place. But it is a huge sacrifice for them to come up here for our summit, as well as landscapers all over the U.S. and Canada. So this year we're going to be having one in Louisville, as you mentioned. But you just felt a burden, I guess, for the ones in that local area, or just to do something else in the middle of the year to continue to keep the owners supported and motivated. What was your thought process behind starting your own conference?
I guess just like you said, kind of being a leader, just thinking outside some. That, like you said, it was in January every year, kind of cold and rainy, and traveling all the way up to Washington, and having something that I know we get kind of the minutia of things where you got your head down, you're grinding away. You start to maybe feel that you're on your own in your own little territory. So I figured there needs to be something maybe in the middle of that year that breaks that up and brings some of us back together. And we do talk a lot, of course, on the Facebook and the Facebook group, but it just seemed like I said, until you can feel the energy of the same people on the same mission and everybody being positive together, face to face in the same room, that it's just a different feeling, a different energy, a different vibe for everybody. So it seemed like there needed to be something that broke up that year where, okay, we're at the halfway mark. You know, we've
Hmm.
gotten through the spring rush. That was pretty tough, pretty hard on us. Now there needs to be something that kind of breaks that up, and then we all come back together, maybe get re-energized for the second half of the year to get through the rest of the summer and the fall.
Yeah, the people that you've had speak, it seems like they're all people from within Augusta, but what qualities were you looking for in them? And like where's the growth of their business, or what was it you were seeing in them that you thought they could add value as a speaker?
Particular topics that we were thinking would help out the franchisees. In the back of my mind, of course, hiring is always a big one. And looking at everybody that is a part of the franchise, it seemed like a particular person would stand out for that. And then P for P, a lot of this is still new for a lot of people. I mean, I know the software is even still going through design changes and different features being added. So it seemed like that was another one that seemed like a topic that was pretty new to a lot of us that needed to
Hmm.
be gone over more. And I knew a franchisee and the organization that had taken their old business, transformed it to make P for P happen even in the old business before they finally became a franchisee to make it
Right.
happen in that business. So that seemed like another one that stood out for that particular topic. And then I know Christmas lights was new for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So that was something else that one particular person has done for 6 years. I think this was their 7th year this past year, going into their 8th year coming up in this fall. So with that much experience and that many years in the business, it just seemed like that topic fit them for them to come and talk about that, because a lot of us hadn't done it. I've never done Christmas lights, but after hearing that and seeing that kind of master class that he put on, that was something we did this past year, and it turned out great for our first year.
Yeah, the
So it
speakers.
just seemed like qualities and things like that just kind of stood out in particular people. So same thing this year. We kind of picked a few particular topics we thought might help, and we've seen people in that area that are better maybe than others that could speak on it and help us out.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where when we do a big summit, Mike has to look at the overall thing for all the landscape community to have a broad something to a magnet, I would say, to attract people to come and listen. But to have people within the franchise themselves that are following the same systems we are, but then they're able to give and share. I was personally, I wanted to do Christmas lights by the time it was over. I wanted to get in there and do routes and P for P and explain to the team. It was just such an encouraging time on a smaller level, which means we could learn in a whole different way. So it was a huge blessing. I'm excited about this year. So, but a lot of people watching, they're just trying to struggle along. They're small business owners. Some have grown. What was your revenue for that first company when you came into Augusta?
From Bluff City in Memphis, that last year was, I think it was 650,000.
With 6 employees.
Right, with 6 employees.
Okay, and you didn't know anything about P for P at that time, right?
Good.
And so is that implemented now for Bluff City?
Not for Bluff City, here at the Augusta location, definitely, and you can definitely see a difference where people are asking a lot more questions. Of course, where normally you just have your hourly employee that doesn't seem to be nearly as involved, or definitely doesn't come to you and ask questions about the money or how they could do it better or differently, or what they can do to make more on P for P. There it was just, you come in, you clock in, put your time in, you clock out, and you leave. Now it's great because there's literally employees that come and they approach you of like, hey, what can I do different here to make a little money, or what we do last time that we made some more money. I've seen on my check or seen on my bonus schedule, and it just seems like they're more involved and asking more questions of how they can do things and versus just clocking in and clocking out. It's been great.
Have you found that you can do P for P with less people on your team?
Yes, it's a little more productive for sure. I mean, you get where people are trying to get more things done, or even if they finish the day, they call at the end of the day and maybe ask for another property or job or two versus just driving back to the shop and clocking out and leaving, even though it's a little early.
Mm-hmm. So going forward, what are you looking for this year, going into your fourth season with Augusta? What are your goals?
The goals this year, I guess I'm definitely hiring a few more people. Wanting to step up, I guess, the revenue just a little bit, not much. I know some of it we're going into more of a profit mode this year than so much of a growth mode. And with that profit kind of gearing down a notch, definitely looking for a GM. So we started putting out some feelers to look for a manager to come in and start learning and taking over some things and taking some things off my plate, like I said, so eventually I can transition and start maybe that second location down below us here in another town that's growing really fast.
So this year, the focus would be to get a GM and get him up to speed and learn the ropes. And then would you stay at this location and have a GM start another one, or would you be the one to move and start the other one from scratch again?
Yeah, that's something I guess we are going to debate when I find the GM and kind of bring them in. But essentially, I would think put them in place in this one that's kind of proven and running. That way, they can definitely see some of the profit sharing and some of the P for P on their end. And then I could move down and start the other location to kind of get the, I guess, ball rolling, all the new stuff that needs to kind of be done before somebody
Yeah,
maybe could take it.
I was just going to say, with all the new the software, with the P for P more evolved and everything, it would be kind of fun to go from scratch again and see how it all
Yeah,
works. You mentioned a little bit ago about growth mode and profit mode. Can you explain the differences between those and how you would set up your season depending on which one you wanted to go for?
definitely. Uh, Growth mode, of course, is where you're in, say, like the new location down there where you're just kind of starting, where you're trying to, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money, which growth sucks cash, of course, as Mike's always talks about, because you're gonna buy new equipment, new trucks. You're hiring people and you're getting them in uniforms and getting them set up in the software, which all takes some money to make happen. And in the growth mode, you're just trying to get in as many customers. You might even bring your hourly rate down a little bit, just so as many estimates you're putting out, you're getting a good percentage of those closed and on the books and the work going. When you're switching to profit mode, you maybe have gotten to a certain level where you're semi comfortable, or you've kind of gotten pretty low on cash reserves. So now you want to downshift, I guess you would say, almost, where you're not trying to put out as much marketing. You're raising your prices on your hourly rates. So you're not getting maybe quite as many estimates in. You're just getting some estimates and they're at a more profitable rate. And then you're not growing where you're buying a lot of new equipment or new trucks or new uniforms for new people, which now that allows you to make more profit and get more money in the bank. And a lot of people do that for maybe a year at a certain level, and then they transfer back to growth mode the next year and shoot to the next level.
I see. So this year you'll grow a little bit, but you're trying to sustain really, and then just sustain as in not grow, like push to grow hard,
Right.
but to just get profit. So how would the marketing roll? Would you be pushing a lot of marketing this year or not as much as last year?
No, probably not near as much, just because now we have a pretty good base of clientele in our CRM. So a lot of times you can do a one-click estimate or just some kind of marketing campaign to all those people in your database to upsell or get more business out of the customers you already have in your CRM. So you wouldn't have to put out near as much uh, marketing to get, I guess, as many jobs or businesses on the books.
So do you have a revenue in mind for the year?
Probably that 650 mark, because we did like maybe 550 this past year with only like four employees and myself. So now we've added another one already. So we got 5 employees. Maybe, like I said, now maybe looking for a GM to make a total of 6 in this location and maybe get to the 650 mark, which would be pretty easy with the database that we have. And this area is growing like there's no tomorrow. And like they're building houses and businesses all in our area and right below us as well. So it just seems like we kind of grow as all that stuff grows as well.
That sounds really fun. So have you kind of tried to mirror the two businesses just to see the differences and how all these systems work in one? It kind of depends on, I guess, how your other owner is and how much he's willing to collaborate and compare. But how has it been for you when you look at Augusta? Now you're almost to if you get to the 650 mark, you're going to be like where you were, almost equal, right?
Uh-uh.
Let me see, our internet's a little slow.
Lost you somehow. Why the heck did I lose you?
Are you there?
I lost you somehow. The sound.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Let me figure out exactly what happened there. Sound.
Can you hear me now? Fantastic content, people. You don't want to leave us. Kevin's getting back on track here. Can you hear me?
There it goes. I don't know how that happened, but it like cut out off also. Now we're
there
back.
you go. Did you hear my question about the mirroring the two businesses and getting to the 650? So you were almost to the 650 or around that with your other business, and now you're going to be hitting that this year. Are you trying to do the same things at both, or just leave the other one kind of the way it was, run the Augusta systems and compare the two?
Yeah, I actually have been kind of doing that already, where I've been looking at the two different ones. Like I said, it seemed like with Augusta and the systems and the processes and all the help from Command Center that we have definitely gotten to that mark faster than we did with the other business, and with less people, and definitely easier. We're not quite as stressed, I guess, because me and the other partner would kind of trade out on answering the phone a lot and doing some of the estimates and things. So now it seems like with Command Center and some of the other system processes in place, it makes it definitely easier and less stressful. And now I can do it, I guess, versus having the two people trying to split it up. Even just with myself, with all the stuff in place, I can get to that mark without, having to have so much help or so much time or so much stress.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what happens in this next year and how you pull ahead and how far you get. So the big picture, the long-term goal for Kevin, do you have a plan? Is it a secret?
Not necessarily, not necessarily a big plan, I guess. It's just now with my two little boys, I guess, like I said, bringing a GM in to take a lot of the stuff off my plate on this location, starting another one, which the other one's actually closer to home than the first one would be.
Nice.
So I think it would give me a little more time with the little guys. So that's mainly it. Just trying to put some things in place where maybe I don't have to spend quite as much time in there, especially as now they're growing. One starting T-ball I think this month or next month. But so with all that starting up, I know there's going to be practices and games and them starting in the school with a lot of stuff that I got to be a part of, I guess you would say, instead of out here working.
Yeah. So you're a big family guy. So how has your wife been throughout this process? What did she think of you joining Augusta, starting another business? You seem to do very well, very balanced, but what does she think about everything?
No, it's been great. She's been with me through some other stuff, so she knows how it goes. She actually was helping us in the office at the original business in Memphis. So she was in there answering the phones and doing some of the scheduling and some of the, answering emails and things of that nature. So she kind of knows some of what it takes. I guess we kind of took a lot on at one time because for some reason we decided to move to a little bit bigger property, bigger house, I guess you'd say, for the new little boys. Also transitioning into Augusta.
Wow.
Moving that business down here, starting it over from scratch, like you said, and having two new little guys in the mix as well. And it's been a lot to take, but we've been managing. Don't get me wrong, like any new thing or a lot of stuff happening. We've had some ups and downs for sure, but we've been maintaining, and so far she's been great. I guess she's seen a change in me where it's a little more positive, being around more positive, energetic people versus maybe being stuck in an office with a couple of, few guys. And that was it. And I would nowhere near where you can go to like a conference or go ask questions on a Facebook group or anything like that to get, some help, a little bit more positivity.
Yeah. And that was going to be my next question was, overall, you as a person, like, spiritually, physically, in the business, in your relationships, do you feel like you've been bettered by being with Augusta?
Yes, I think so for sure. It's just every time coming around all the people that's just positive, wanting to help out, and that's just seemed like a more energy, I guess, especially when we come together. That's why I said I like to do the thing that we're doing every year in the middle of the year, for us to come back together instead of just once a year. And then now it's going to be like that, and then come in October again. So it's going to be great to kind of get that push through the second half of the year back to back.
For sure. So to wrap up here, amazing people don't just come around by accident, and they obviously are feeding on something or have something going in to have such great output. Do you listen to podcasts, audible books, sermons? Like, what kind of intake do you bring in to put out so much?
A little bit of it all, definitely. Everything I can find on the net as far as videos in our industry, but also business ones. Looking for motivational stuff that I listen to off of podcasts and also off of audio books, because we're in the truck, driving to
Yep.
estimates and customers and things. So I try to plug it in there on the Bluetooth and listen to as much as I can. Of course, being a part of a church, and then having a men's group I go to every Wednesday night, and they're actually going through a book, and so I listen to that kind of in between as well. But yeah, anything I can find and anywhere I can kind of consume something, especially if even cutting my own grass, maybe at my house, getting on the lawnmower and the headphones and trying to listen to some books and podcasts that help out.
That's awesome. So one more thing after this, but if there is anything that you think that you could share to younger guys starting out, or guys that are out there all alone, there's people that it doesn't matter if they ever join Augusta, but our goal is still to raise the level of professionalism in the industry. And we see so much of the non-professionalism, and a lot of it I see is because of their lack of confidence of what they actually could be and become in this industry, actually have a career and something to provide for their families. So what would you say to that person who's struggling along and trying to build a business?
Just like you said, trying to find content such as Mike and other people in the industry that can definitely help you out with tips and tricks and things that you're not going to find out on your own. Definitely have to reach out. I know a lot of us are listening to things, or even our parents in their day, where it's kind of segmented. So they just put your head down, grind away, work really hard. You're going to make it, but it's going to take, let's say, a lot longer and not nearly as easy if you find a mentor or somebody else that kind of give you the tips and tricks and headway. I guess back when I started many years ago with the lawn and landscaping company, that there was things such as Mike, or this landscape business course, the MBA course that Mike puts out, that there was something like that for us to learn on, that we would be a lot further ahead than we are now. But you're definitely not alone. I mean, reach out to some other people. I know, don't get me wrong, you're probably going to run into a few that maybe don't really want to help or share as much as they could, but they're also going to run into people that really do want to help us, such as Mike or any of us in Augusta. It's just been great to see how much outpouring of help and I guess encouragement and positivity from Augusta. Even guys that are not a part of Augusta reach out to me all the time, and I'm willing to help out any way I can. In fact, I went, last week, I went to a lunch with a guy in our particular area that's a little bit younger, and he's got a couple of trucks and just kind of getting things going. And I guess it was his father's business before his business now, so he's trying to take it over and get it to another level. And so we actually went and had lunch, and we talked, and I shared as much as possibly I could to help him out. So it's just things like that. You're not by yourself. You're definitely other people out there that's been in your shoes or even worse. So please just reach out and talk to somebody.
Yeah, that's sure going to help a lot of people. So in conclusion, do you have a quote or quotes? It's hard to find a favorite, but do you have a quote that you could share with us?
I had one, I guess, that kind of stuck with me when I was going through a lot of different businesses and things, that by John Shedd. It's a ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. This quote is great because it's a reminder that stepping out of your comfort zone and experiencing new things is one of the best ways to learn.
Man, that's powerful. That's good. I'll have to put that on my fridge. Well, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. I know it'll encourage a lot of people.
Definitely. I hope so.
All right. You have an awesome day. Thank you.
All right. You too. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Too many screens.
Too many screens. There we go.